Just as God in the Bible designs and creates animals and plants and humans according to his wishes, now we are learning how to design and create life.
Yuval Harari thinks big for a living. Not so long ago, he was an obscure history professor, but his 2014 book, Sapiens, changed all that. He explored the past, cramming 150,000 years of human history into 400 pages.
Authority will shift.
Transforming himself into a literary phenomenon.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome once again Yuval Noah Harari.
Name dropped by the likes of Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and Barack Obama.
The other book that I really enjoyed, a book by an Israeli author, Yuval Harari.
His follow-up book, Homo Deus, tackled the future, elevating Harari to a sort of digital visionary. Now he's back with his take on the present day. His new book, 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, explores the influence of algorithms on our everyday lives, how artificial intelligence will affect and maybe even replace us.
The latest human quest is immortality and divinity. We're all trying to be superhumans. Is that actually happening?
Yes, in places like Silicon Valley, equality is out, but immortality is in. Everybody's talking about immortality. Google has just established 2 or 3 years ago a sub-company called Calico, whose stated aim is to solve the problem of death. We've solved search, now we'll solve death. And they are not the only ones. And basically they are saying death is not some metaphysical phenomenon. We don't have to wait for the second coming of Christ in order to solve it. A couple of geeks in a laboratory can do it.
Are they doing it?
Yeah, they are investing billions in that. Not only them, but all over the world. Basically, there are 3 ways. You can use biological engineering to change the human body, to speed up natural selection. You can use cyborg engineering, which is combining organic with inorganic parts. And you can create completely inorganic life forms. It will be not only the greatest revolution in history, it will be the greatest revolution in biology ever.
Will we still be human?
Not in the sense that we understand humanity today.
The Bible, for example. So in the first book of Genesis, what God does is to create animals and plants and humans. And we now want to gain this ability to ourselves, to manufacture animals and plants and humans. And we even go beyond God. I mean, even if you believe in the Bible, the only thing the God of the Bible managed to create is organic beings. He managed to create the cows and the tomatoes and the giraffes and the humans, all organic. Now we try to go beyond the God of the Bible and create inorganic life, something he never managed to do, either according to the Bible or according to biology. For 4 billion years, all of life was organic, and now we want to create inorganic life. That's really, divinity is not far enough to describe what we are trying to do. The soul and the afterlife and things like that. The main task of God was to ensure agricultural production and victory in war. If you read really the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, it's all about agricultural production. It's about rain, it's about pestilence, it's about fertility. And now we are much better than the God of the Bible. I mean, in the Bible you have these recurring droughts, that the people of Israel do something wrong, God's become angry, drought, no water. Now Israel has built in recent years a huge desalination factory on the shores of the Mediterranean. And most drinking water in Israel today actually come from these plants, from these factories. So we can make God as angry as we like. I mean, he can stop the rains, we don't care. We still have water because science has managed to go way beyond the expectations of the ancient Hebrews. The new thing is that there is a kind of alien presence on Earth. A new alien intelligence has invaded our life, not from a distant planet, but from the laboratories, artificial intelligence. And this is something new, it's a game changer, because unlike all previous information technology, it can make decisions on its own, it can analyze us, it can hack us. The printing press couldn't do it, the radio couldn't do it, but the new technology can do it. And for the first time in history, it is becoming possible to hack human beings and therefore also to manipulate human beings on an unprecedented scale.
Question 6. A farmer in the 19th century may not have been too concerned with happiness. 100 years from now, do you think we will still care about being happy?
Again, the question is who are we? 100 years from now, it's quite likely that humans like you and me will disappear and Earth will be populated by a very different kind of beings, all kinds of cyborgs and AIs and so forth, and it is extremely difficult to predict what kind of emotional or mental life such beings, such entities will have.
I'm convinced that we will destroy, unfortunately, a lot of employment. Just think of self-guided cars and all the drivers losing their jobs. Let's look at the bank employees and so on.
If you're left behind, you're facing something far worse, which is to be completely irrelevant. They won't even need you as a serf or as a slave. Direct brain-computer interfaces, replacing organic hands with bionic hands, adding to the body a second immune system, which is not organic but an inorganic immune system, made up of millions of tiny nanorobots inside your body. And if we hack the brain, and if we understand how billions of neurons create subjective experiences of anger and love and pain and pleasure, then there should be no barrier for recreating these kinds of experiences based on silicon and not carbon, based on computers and not brains. A good two-way communication system, direct communication system between brains and computers, this is kind of the watershed moment. I mean, once you have a good two-way, nobody has any idea what happens after that. It's kind of like the screen comes down and a completely different show begins. You don't have any answer in the Bible what to do when humans are no longer useful to the economy. You need completely new ideologies, completely new religions, and they are likely to emerge from Silicon Valley or from Bangalore and not from the Middle East. And they are likely to give people visions based on technology. Everything that the old religions promised, happiness and justice and even eternal life, but here on earth with the help of technology and not after death with the help of some supernatural being. If you repeat a lie often enough, people will think it's the truth, and the bigger the lie, the better. Because people won't even think that something so big can be a lie. And I think that fake news have been with us for thousands of years. Just think of the Bible. But there is humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. We have all this still myth of free will, that everything we choose is of our own free will. And this is a myth that served us well for a couple of centuries. But now it's becoming dangerous. Previously, surveillance was mainly above the skin. Now it's going under the skin. Well, I think maybe in a couple of decades when people look back, the thing they will remember from the COVID crisis is this is the moment when everything went digital. And if this was the moment when everything became monitored. That we agreed to be surveyed all the time. Not just in authoritarian regimes, but even in democracies. And maybe most importantly of all, this was the moment when surveillance started going under the skin.